Here we go. Hello. Come on in. Ladies and gentlemen, it's episode 112. Here we go. Come on in. Yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is episode 112. And I am Cardone, and this is Evening Hour Live. What's up? Let me do a couple adjustments. I have a couple things to adjust. My pictures were messed up. They, somehow rearranged themselves. There are gremlins in machines. You put up something somewhere in a computer and somehow it moves. There's a word for that. What's up? Come on in. It's Monday. Wow. We got a full group quick. It got busy quick in here. I got all my favorite peoples. Lilith, Ruth, Achilles, everybody. My mom is in here. Matt, Ruby, Angela, Dan, Mark. Come on in. Who else is in here? Why is this not working now? Now this isn't working. You guys can hear me, right? It won't let me scroll. It's so weird. Who else is in there? Yeah, I can't scroll and see who's in here. Oh, there we go. Now it's working. What the heck? So weird. God, I hate computers. Now I can see. There we go. Jason, William. Yeah, you guys are in here. Mark, what's up? Cool. Anywho, speaking of Zalthon's down for a minute. They literally, they made it, Streamlabs, which is what runs this show, completely different. Now you have to pay for these apps. We'll see. I might have to go a new route. What's up? I feel really kind of jazzed. I don't know why. I had no energy today, but now I do. And I'm drinking tonight. My favorite non-alcoholic beer is back. They were out for a long time because it's seasonal, and now it's back. This stuff tastes like chocolate, folks. I swear to God. That drink also makes me yawn. It's the hops. Ruth, how are you? So I got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. What did I want to start with? Yeah, so since I saw you last, well, I've done a bunch of shows and stuff like I do, but last night, in particular, I got to perform in the Elvis Bowie tribute, which was scheduled for last month, but because of Omnicromny, they moved it. So last night, sold out. I mean, at one point, I left to get some fresh air, and I couldn't even get in. The door wouldn't even open, to get into the actual part where everybody's listening to music. It was that crowded. It was a perfect rock and roll night. I saw people there from 20 years ago that I haven't seen in years. A lot of downtown rock and roll people that I've known forever. And the house band, flawless. Flawless. Yeah, Michael T is the guy that runs that one. Ginger Snap Dough. Wow. I have never had... Oh, thank you so much, Ruth. Yeah, I posted a couple videos. Yeah, dude, I got to do Elvis. He's my fave. Listen, have you seen the new Elvis trailer? Holy moly. I mean, it looks pretty good. I will say, the guy playing Elvis, here's the problem. And they've tried to do Elvis stuff before, right? We all know what he looks and sounds like. It's like so well that from his just everything's familiar. So no matter who, it would be like somebody playing a family member in a movie. You would never buy into it because you're like, dude, I know the guy. That's not how it is. To me, that's how Elvis is. He's a little hard. The thing that's hard to capture about Elvis, and it's Michael Jackson too, and it's also the reason why I think they got to be as big as they did. There's a part of their personality that's cut off. They're not 100%, hi, how are you? They're a little shy. There's this one element that's being hidden. It's something I learned in theater school about having a secret that you're withholding to the audience. It might not even be in the script, but it's good to have one secret internalized that maybe it gives it this layer. And I think that's one of the things that made him layer. I have never had a homemade ginger snap my whole life. Ah, thank you, Dan. Yeah, I like that song because of the end. It's got a flashy ending, and I made it a little longer. But I will tell you, so I got to sound check, and, I'm in a great mood. I got my gig bag. Oh, I also did ventriloquism that night, which you haven't seen yet because I don't have any pictures. I was in the, yeah, Mark. Well, I'm going to talk about that. Anywho, I got to sound check. I was in a great mood. I show up. I had my ventriloquist dummy, Stephen Shante, and I had Keith. What's up, brother? And I had, I use my own mics. And I don't use my own mic because I'm afraid of getting sick of the flu. Even though the gigs I did in the fall, all the microphones at the professional venues, they change out the cover, which is great. They should do that anyways, even in normal times. But I like my own mic, A, because I have my own microphones and I'm in bands. But B, I don't like the smell of someone else's vomit breath. Seriously. I don't know if you've ever gone into a nightclub and been on stage and gone up to the mic. Think about how many thousands of gross human beings coughed, just booze, cigarette breath, all over these things. I brought my own mic, and I have a Shure 54, which, hey, I have them right here. Oh, no. Hello? Thought I just unplugged everything. You guys can see me? Okay, good. So here's two of them. Here's one. And here's two. I have a backup. I've had these for years. They're the vintage style. So there was another guy there that had his own mics too, because there was different singers, and so the sound man was like, "Those things sound like shit. You should use our mic," and I was just like, "Huh?" And I was like, first of all, I don't use somebody else's mics. Second, they smell. And third, I disagree with you saying they sound bad. Oh, this is good. Interesting. So I was like, I've been doing music for longer than the guy telling me that the mic's bad. I think he was probably in his mid-20s. I was like, yo, bro, I'm using this mic. I just laid the law. I was going to hit the guy. I was like, what? No, I'm using the mic. So I went up and I did it. It was great. I sound checked. So I said to Michael T, the guy running the night and the star of the show, I was like, yo, that guy gave me some shit about my mic. And he was like, oh, he's been pissy too. He fired him. He had problems with him too. So we got a new sound man. I was like, wow, you, as Elvis would say, TCB. I love it. You like Elvis's 70s stuff over his rockabilly stuff. Wow. Well, I mean, I like the whole gambit. I like the 70s, early and mid to late. And I like the rock. I like it all. I don't like his movie stuff. That's the stuff of Elvis. I've seen a bunch of those movies. I just haven't seen them all and don't care to. Some of the music's okay from the movies. Actually, a lot of it is good. But I really, 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 I think the movie, yes, it's going for I wouldn't say cartoonish, but fantasy. It looks like a fantasy. The colors, it's just perfect. I'm sure they're going to mix in modern social issues into the story. That seems kind of common these days. I don't know if that's going to be good or bad. It could be okay if it's done tastefully. It also sometimes looks forced, which tunes me out. Whenever I see forced virtue in a movie, it's not good, okay? It's not good. It's not good. It's like forced cool. If it's not organic and mean and actually sincere, I don't buy it. I hope it doesn't have that. It could. But it looks like the focus is the Colonel Tom relationship. And I didn't realize Colonel Tom Parker was a Dutch citizen who was an illegal alien. And that's why he never left the country. And that's one of the reasons why Elvis never left, because Colonel Tom Parker's manager was with him all the time. So I think that's what the movie, it's got a big, whoa! It was filmed in your hometown in Australia. Wow, that's cool, man. Wow, I'm sure you heard some rumors about it, or you at least probably knew people involved. It looks like a big show, like, big budgeted Hollywood movie. And seeing that biopics are in style right now. The Freddie Mercury movie, fantastic. That might have been easily messed up. I liked the Queen movie because of the ending. It had a really uplifting ending. I really like it. I didn't see the other biopics because I don't see that many movies, but I did see the Freddie Mercury one. There you go with some hypocrisy. The Australian government. I'll tell you what, if I lived down there, I would have not been for what was going on. That was too much. But yeah, of course they let it in for money. Money talks, even when people have high virtues. They never toured overseas. Parker blamed Elvis always wanting to carry a gun. Well, I don't blame him. I would have carried... I think Elvis at one time was carrying 6 guns on his body. He had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They lent cars and clothes. Oh, that's cool. I mean, it looks good. It looks a little too clean. I'll say that. Sometimes when things are so polished, I lose, But I heard the guy playing Elvis sings the songs, and I'm wondering if they use CG to make his face look more Elvis-y. He looks kind of Elvis-y, his eyes, or at least parts of his eyes. So anywho, I want to get into the show because some of these notions that I'm talking about are also about what I'm going to talk about. Last week, I saw Nightmare Alley, the remake by Guillermo del Toro. I ain't going to give spoilers. Yes, I liked it. 2 thumbs up. More than 2 thumbs up. It emotionally moved me so much that I had some breakdowns. I'd seen the old one years ago. I remembered bits of it, but I saw it in college. I believe it was freshman year in a movie theater. We had a movie theater where the people got to pick, the students picked the films. So I believe it was Sunday night they played all the weird movies, and I would go all the time. They were free. And I think I drank, did I do 2 bottles of Robitussin that night? I might have done the double. Every now and then I would do 2. 2 bottles of Robitussin is out of control, folks. Out of control. I don't recommend it. I was crazy. I was in college. It's like a heroin buzz at that point. It really is. It's like, woo! So I remember bits and pieces of the movie. I remember liking it, but this new one added some stuff. The film Nightmare Alley is the one I'm describing now. Nightmare Alley is a new film by Guillermo. It's a remake of a film that came out in the 40s, and that is also from a book. but it's about a guy in the carnival sideshow business that becomes more than that. Yes, I saw this. There's a black and white version. Yeah, I don't feel any desire to see that black and white version. No, okay, we'll get to that. So my review of the film, yeah, Robo is woo. Okay, so you get to read. So here's the hook. If I'm gonna hook you to see it, you get to see some inner workings of the carnival mentality, the Carny mind, the carnival wisdom, the morals, and the code of ethics involved in the carnival business. And you get to see the people who are that and the world around them, and then that world operating in the real world. Okay? And I've been in those situations. Now, it's funny, if you go to my Facebook post where I wrote about it, underneath, there's a guy named John Strong who keeps commenting. And he was like, "You're totally wrong about that movie. Blah, 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 blah." I think Ruby tried to debate the guy. So, Ruby, you're listening right now, eh? So, I've got a story to tell you about that gentleman. First of all, John Strong is a real carny, in the true sense. And I remember when Coney Island, USA, which is the sideshow we have here, the big one, where my friend's the boss now, about 9 years ago, the John Strong Show decided to set up shop at Coney Island. So they rented an area, and his banner line, you know, the big sideshow banners, is better than the one at Coney Island. I'm going to be honest. Why? Because he's a real carny. But like a real carny, he's got some loose morals. So John Strong, the guy, Ruby, that you were tit for tatting online, first of all, the guy didn't read my thing. And his mentor, who just passed away, Bobby Reynolds, who's another sideshow giant that I knew, Bobby Reynolds was illiterate. When I found that out, I was like, wow, he really is an old carny. Like, he couldn't read or write, yet he was the king of the sideshow for a while. So, pretty interesting. So, John Strong is out there with, and I'm trying not to use sideshow lingo, a 10-in-1 is the sideshow with 10 acts in one, but he also had a single-o. A single-o is, it's a single attraction. It's like a giant truck, but there's only one thing in it. And you go in and you see the one thing and you leave. He had a headless woman. Big, beautiful banner. I was performing at Coney that weekend, and I don't remember what show I was in. But I was on stage, and as soon as I was done performing, John Strong walked on stage. He went up the steps and went, "Hi, I'm John Strong, and I want you to work for my show." In the other show. So, exactly. All right, Lilith, this is interesting. So this guy, John Strong, he's a real carny. It's just like a real carny, his morals are loose. So when anybody shit talks John Strong, I just remind them, hey, you know, the old boss of Coney Island was a playwright. That guy's a real carny. So I do have deep respect for those guys. Their decision making's different than a playwright running a non-for-profit organization called Coney Island, USA. Totally different set of values that are conducive to running a sideshow. Now, I've worked in carnivals, circuses, sideshows, conventions, and I've toured in rock bands, which pretty much is the same thing, for years. Basically, that's my life. So I'm watching this movie, and all the characters, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of them, I've met them all, I know them all, and some of them are right here. Some of those characteristics I have, the way I think and the way I behave. And so I'm watching this movie, and, well, first of all, it's in color, and it's beautiful, and I'm sure you'll all agree. Glorious, beautiful. The cinematography, beautiful. I don't know what else to say. Flawless, beautiful. The whole time I was thanking the gods that Tim Burton didn't make this movie. I really was. was like, wow, this is one of those ones he would have gotten, cast Johnny Depp, put Helena Bonham Carter in, and here we go. But no. Wasn't that at all. All the characters, even the bad ones for me, were likable. That's not easy to do. To me, that's a real artist as a director. If you can get that to work. His choice of actors, I'm terrible with actor names and I should have wrote them down. Fassbender, is that his name? The guy that played the lead. Cate Blanchett, for me, stole the show. And I don't want to spoil it, but basically, there were a few moments that really choked me up because I saw so much of myself. The good and the bad. And it was a very human feeling, you know? It was, wow, this is what I devoted my life to? Wow, interesting. But ultimately, to me, one of the themes in that movie is one of the themes I've been tripping on for the last year, and that is beyond good and evil. Morals, where they come from, who decides what means good, what means bad. And to me, that's what that film is. And it doesn't judge the way you would think it judges. It presents it, and it lets you judge yourself. At least that's how I felt watching it. Even all the way to the end. Bradley Cooper, fantastic actor. My only complaint in the film, very subtle complaint, almost fickle, so fickle I shouldn't mention, but I will mention, is the special effects of the Electric Girls act. It looked like a Tim Burton movie. That's not what that act ever looked like. There's no sparks that look that good. That's not real. And so I wish it was a little more real because it would have, I don't know. I think he did it to make it lean to that fantasy. Because the other thing I appreciated about that film, if I was going to teach an acting class, I would use that movie in certain scenes as examples of context, subtext, and playing an action whilst trying to make it look like you're playing another action. This is where acting gets meta, detailed, and a real craft. And that movie, all over. I shit on movies all the time because they don't have those elements. This had them all. And I will watch it again. And I don't know if I'll watch the black and white one. I don't get it. Like, if he was intended to be filmed in black and white, and he made it as such, yes, maybe I would see that, obviously. But the colors are beautiful. The colors tell a story. I'm sure the shadows tell a story too, maybe, but I don't know. It looked like yes, yeah. I mean, I'm sure, Lilith, you guys all liked it. I can't, I know, I mean, you did tell me you liked it. That's one of the reasons why I watched it. If I get a thumbs up from your crew, I will definitely go check it out. And I did. I delayed it. I don't watch much, so I planned it. I watched it alone. I like watching some movies with people, but like learning about who you are as a human being. When you're isolated, you don't have anybody judging you, watching you. You're not telegraphing. So you're really able to feel a real emotional feeling without feeling anything, no influence. So I watched it alone, and I really, it hit me hard. I mean, really, there was a couple scenes I paused. I was like, oh, it's just, and they were things you wouldn't even think would choke me up. They were, I mean, when that dude whipped out his notebook of, like, his notes on his hand signals and stuff, I was like, I've got him over here. Like, 50 of them, of my notes. I was like, oh, wow, this is, woo. Oh, you do? Really? I'm interested. See, here's why I'll disagree with that. So Ruth wrote, if you're listening, it was incredibly beautiful, but you thought Bradley Cooper was miscast. You didn't believe him in the role. See, for me, that that element that you might have picked up on might have been what I liked, because he was so, like, in the beginning, just kind of like, I don't know, I liked him in the beginning. I mean, I saw, he's got some skeletons in his closet, and then he's there, and you kind of like him. I thought his insincerity that you might have noticed in the role was a little bit good for the notion of what he was doing. So, interesting, Dan. Well, Dan, you're with me on that one. I barely watch anything new. You never saw Top Gun? And there's a sequel coming out? My God. I watched the 5-minute long trailer of the sequel for Top Gun, and I think that's enough. Oh, me and Howie? Well, if me and Howie were watching movies, they would have to be some old stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. That Bradley Cooper guy, I keep saying Bradley Cooper. Yeah, Bradley Cooper. I really, another scene. The scene, so the guy does sideshow. He learns mind reading stunts in the sideshow, and then he's doing bougie nightclubs. That's what I do. That scene where he's in the round in the nightclub doing his tuxedoed, I've done that hundreds of times. Well, more than that, maybe. I don't know. That's that world. Now, in the movie, and I'm not spoiling much, but the guy is perceived to have supernatural powers, and people approach him as like, hey, I want to hire you for your supernatural stuff. I've had that happen. I mean, straight up, I think I've told the story here, people asking me to heal their sick and dying child. After I just did a magic show. Like heavy. I've been hired. I've been sent to the hospital to entertain people who are dying on their deathbed. I had a client that loved ventriloquism, and she was old and dying, and her family was like, go make her laugh at the dummy. I had, I don't know if I've ever told this story. I don't know if I can tell this story without getting choked up. My agent called me and said, yo, there's a kid. He's like 8. He's going to die any minute, and his family's spoiling the hell out of him. Are you in? And I was like, yeah, I'm in. Of course. I don't say no to any job. And I was like, okay, let's go. So I don't remember what neighborhood. I do. It was Dumbo. It was that big building that's on the water. There's like the carousel, and I remember going up. This is 10 years ago, maybe a little more. And I go in, and these people had cashola. They had a giant apartment in Dumbo. This apartment's a few mil easily. And I see pictures of as I'm walking in, there's people there, but I didn't meet the kid yet. I see the kid's picture on the wall. He was an only child, and the kid had a tumor, and you could see in the picture it getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And by this point, it was like this. And I did the show. No one watched me. They were watching him. Not easy. He had a great time. Ooh. But I've been in those situations where people are like, they want you to do real magic. And so, in this case, I tell people, look, I can make you laugh. I'm not going to heal you. I'm not going to literally, I'm pretty honest with that. But in this movie, you'll see there's a line that gets crossed. And I don't want to spoil it. If you like cinema and the occult and psychology and circus and sideshow, must see. So, now, let's talk about a little bit about Mr. Nietzsche and some truth. Masterman? No, I don't know. Stanton Carlisle. So in the mentalism books, which I have a lot, I don't have a lot of the newer ones. There's a lot of new ones that are coming out. I think Ted Leslie is where I stopped, which is about 12 years ago. But I have all the old ones. 13 Steps is the big one. Where is it? 13 Steps to Mentalism. I can't see it. It's over there. There's so many good books. So I've been paused on Nietzsche recently in my philosophical journey only because it's so damn fascinating and hard to do that it's more of a hook for me. The hook is that it's harder, and so I have to put a little more effort into understanding it, which draws me in even more. And the other thing about reading Nietzsche is they'll cite one, you'll read one book, but then you wish you read these. And I wasn't going to read them in order. I wanted to start somewhere in the middle because they dance around a few themes. And as his Corinda, of course, you know it. It's cool that you know that. What's up, Talon? And so I paused on Nietzsche, and I'm in the middle of Antichrist. I have like 1 page, 2 pages left. I'm about a quarter into Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Floored. Loving it. I didn't know if I was going to love it as much as the other stuff because I'm not really a fiction guy. Zarathustra, I mean, I don't even consider it fiction, even though it's a story. But it's just the story version of him teaching philosophy using the story. And so, I'm in Zarathustra, and I started reading, and God, it's so good. Dawn of Day. I mean, dude, look, here. This is how meaty this is. So Dawn of Day is also written in those stanzas that are numbered. They're all kind of written like that. Oh, here we go. This blew my head off. Book 1, stanza 1. Wait till you hear this. It's 2 lines. You could think about this for a week. Subsequent judgment. Dash. All things that endure for a long time are little by little so greatly permeated by reason that their origin in unreason becomes improbable. Does not almost every exact statement of an origin strike us as paradoxical and sacrilegious? Indeed, does not the true historian constantly contradict? That's the opening of the book. Wow. Okay. I don't even know where to begin. I do not have the dance, but I will. I'm going to read them all. So, I've been digging this trip on what even the word truth means and what fact means, and I've been really trying to just take it all in. And I don't know what to, like, I honestly don't know. Wait, what the heck? Hold on a second here. Let me check something here. I just want to see. What did I title today's show? Oh, yeah. Free Spirits and Scars. Yeah, okay, and Carny Wisdom. So, the idea of the free spirit. I'm going to talk about truth and free spirit today. So, here's a little quote truth thing here. Perhaps nobody yet has been truthful enough about what truthfulness is. That's from Beyond Good and Evil, actually. Established truths are instead errors, lies, and convictions that have grown out of fear. Okay, so here's what it is. Think about this. When you say, I want to know the truth, and that's the truth, and I'm here for the truth, truth, justice in the American way, that word truth has a positive, good connotation. And Nietzsche's saying, that's not true. Truth isn't good in its, what does that mean? It's not good. It's just true. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to have a positive ring. It might have a negative ring. Yeah, right. Not only that, okay, so you have truth, this is where I can't even do it anymore. My phone is pink, even though that's not true. It's not pink. I'm perceiving it as pink, but, I came up with a word as pink, but is it really pink? I don't know. Anywho, let's just say that's the truth now. The facts about it are the parts that'll never go to that. You know, as soon as you publish something, it's a fact. Is it true? No, but it's published, so now you can use it as if someone said it. It's real. Once you say it, it becomes a reality. Truth discovery is not necessarily pleasurable. I find it pleasurable. Most don't. And so here, I wrote down some really interesting little nuggets of quotes here that tripped me out. The person that's the free spirit, Nietzsche thought those were the guys that are seeking the truth at all costs. Even if it means they're going to abandon the good and evil thing and go beyond it and maybe find a place that's not comfortable. And so, you know, it might be bad. You know, our governments lie to us for our own sake. They do it to quell the kooks, let's just say. You know, they're justified. They have a justification. Nietzsche called the person, the free spirit, the technique of being able to deal with it, he called it experimentalism. It was the counterforce to the attraction of narrow truth and dogma. People are attracted to narrow truth. Do you know how many people are running around spouting things about politics, science, religion, and philosophy about a notion that as soon as you ask them a question about it, they go into anger defense mode because they don't know what they're talking about. They have no idea. I know doctors that don't know what they're talking about. I know them. They don't know anything. They went to school to learn how to look up things and tell you what it says over here. They didn't learn how to put A and B together. Yeah. Yeah, it's very wiggly. And so this experimentalism, these are the people that butt their heads at these truths and say unterrible things that might cause harm. And through that, we learn the real stuff. That's why people are getting shut down. I like it when bad people say bad things publicly. I want that. I know a lot of people don't, even people watching here. I'm okay with that. Is it bad for the society? Maybe. It might be. It might ruin us all. But for me, I prefer that. I prefer my character type, the other side of that, it hurts. So I like it when people butt their heads at things. You know, if we get a bad politician in office, that's good. Why? It flexes the muscles of what it's all supposed to be about. When we had our terrible politicians in office, for me, that's a magnifying glass at the problems. Actually, they usually shine the light on the other side's problems and their own, which I find fascinating. So, a lie. What is a lie? It's another thing. A lie isn't, because they use that word all the time on TV. You know, so-and-so lied, and the government lies, and this guy lied. It's an outward expression of a falsehood, but inwardly, they know it to be false. Right? Now, here's what's the dangerous one. And this is where they get their info from their friends' memes. And that's it. And then once you get that little nugget of info that logically makes sense, your brain then starts adding its own stuff to it to justify it all and adapt it into your pantheon. I mean, we all do that. Yeah, social media is pretty bad. So conviction is where it gets dangerous. This is where people do crazy things. Conviction, an inward certainty. One has attained the truth. It's an inward certainty that you got the truth. And this gives way to arrogance. And it makes a web of delusion and falsehood. And it becomes kind of a logic. Bumper stickers. Yeah, that's funny. Finding truth cuts off the forces that work towards enlightenment and knowledge. Ah, I see. Okay, so check this out. All Nietzsche was saying is you have to be your own critic. That's all. Experimenting with your values. Really, I was talking to my kids the other day, my daughter, and I was like, yo, stop and think about all the things that you like to do. Things that you really enjoy, movies that you liked, books that you might have read, people that you like, and why. Did you ever think about that? And she's like, not really. If it's true for you, it's true. Ron Hubbard. I love it. I got to do another Scientology episode. I'm working on one, actually. I have a note thing where I fill it in. So, yeah, question your values. Question why you like things. Did I learn it from somebody? Is it more of a natural inclination? Did my family teach it to me? You know? And through that, you realize a lot. A lot of little things start to pop into play. Free spirits. No chains. Liberated. A master of courage and curiosity. These are Nietzsche's words. Bound spirit. Okay, so the opposite of the free spirit, he called the bound spirit. Bound spirit is like the notion of philosophical suicide. Letting somebody else show you the way without you doing your, as he called it, experimentalism. Now, as a kid, I was doing the experimentalism thing early. I think I'm naturally inclined for it. All right, here, this is great. Make it a rule never to withhold or conceal from yourself anything that may be thought against your own thoughts. Vow it. This is essential. This is the essential requirement of honest thinking. You must undertake such a campaign against yourself every day. That's from Donna Day. When I read that, I was like, yeah, that's it. It's, yeah, they want their bias confirmed. Yeah, well, yeah, it dismantles critical thinking. It produces happy chemicals, and we evolved to do that. So it's hard to get mad when people do it if their literal brain chemistry is set up for it. And in school, they're not creating a program that actually helps you experiment a bit. My buddy today, who's a real estate guy, was here. We were on my porch, and we just showed my apartment that's for rent. I'm renting an apartment. It's open. Anybody wants to live by the beach? It's one here. And I said, why can't we have a kindergarten philosophy class where you just sit kids down and ask them some questions and get them to ask each other questions? You know, why do you like this? And what are your thoughts about this? And what are your thoughts about it? And if there's getting kids to analyze who they are. Do you ever say to a little kid, who are you? Do it and watch and keep doing it. It's interesting. Little kids are natural philosophers, actually. But it gets squelched. They get squelched. Everybody wants to answer for their kids. You know, the kid's trying to say something, the parents start answering. The school system's not set up to teach kids how to actually think. It teaches them how to behave. It teaches them how to listen. It babysits them. And, you know, what's the story? Our modern school system set up to teach people how to work in a factory office situation, you know? Skeptic. Distance from beliefs, plays with ideas and tools. The thing about the skeptic, because the skeptic world, because that's a scene too. There's the skeptic. I've met people like, hi, I'm in the skeptic community. Okay. The problem with those guys is, and this is why I like Nietzsche so much, he's not that. He is not the skeptic guy. I mean, he is. He's an empiricist. He wants solid, real. This is our world. He, you know, according to that, this is in a glass. It's for drinking. And the realm of forms, which is the Plato thing. Okay, cool, but that's not what it is, okay? This perfect world of forms is what we do when you're not happy. You need to make, this is a perfect cup. It does its job well. Is the circumference perfect? Maybe. but I call it perfect. I don't need the forms world to comfort me. And he called it Hinterwelt, the realm of perfect, which is what heaven ultimately became. Like, this life sucks, you get the reward at the end. The free spirit starts by saying that that's nonsense, and then starts to question values. And that's what the free spirit is. Now, back to the Carnies and their wisdom. In the carnival world, they live by their own values and rules that are conducive to traveling, small, communistic groups, tribal, but small. I'm sure, Dan. That's the fun part, is watching kids learn and just go through life and how they're dealing with it. I honestly, in the carnival world, they're homeschooled. They have to make money. That's it. They set up shop. People come, and people pay for an experience. Now, what is that experience? The sideshow, the carnival, they're selling new, unusual wonder, excitement, the removal of the dull. You live a dull life, you go to work, and then all of a sudden there's a tiger in a cage, a woman with a beard, a guy reading minds, gadgets that make your body feel weird, half-naked ladies in a tent doing dances, everything to stimulate your senses, stimulate your desires, your taste buds. It's a stimulating, all-encompassing experience, but ultimately, when you go home, what are you left with? Well, the memories, right? But the wonder of it all, the mystery of it all. When I was a little kid, the first time I went to the circus, I wanted to know who those people were. I was like, who are those people? Where are they from? They look different. It was the first time when I was little that I saw people from like Mexico or South America in my hometown. They were in the circus. It was the first time I saw people with lots of tattoos. All the guys working were tattooed. It was like, who are these people? And so when you go home, there's this mystery of what was that? Who were they? I saw things I've never seen before, and it opens up your mind and gives you a new breath of life. That's it. Very simple. Escape. It's escapism. But the thing about the sideshow as an escapistic thing that I always thought was interesting, and it's a word that you don't ever hear used much, a lot of people in this group might, is the notion of exoticism. Taking things from strange lands and cultures and culturally appropriating them. Making them this new brand of something. You'll see a sideshow performer wearing a fez and what's the thing they wear in India called? The men wear. I can't remember. It's like a skirt. They wear exotic clothes, mix-matched. They've got tattoos. They're using leopard print. It's a bizarre subculture of aesthetic. What's this? South Carolina. Oh, yeah. Okay. You're drinking in an old bar. The State Fair. Yeah. State fairs still have, that's still legit, I've never done just a plain old tour in like a 10-in-1 sideshow. I could never have afforded to do it. The amount of money made is barely any. You get to eat, you get a place to stay. So for a grifter performer that travels, pure gold. I did it in the rock business. We had hotels or trucks and buses, but my version of that was rock and roll. Also very similar. I see people at the rock show, they're customers. I got to sell shirts. We got to sell merch. We got to sell tickets. And we have to put on a show. And not only do you put a show on stage, when you're off stage, the show don't stop. Especially when you're in a rock band. No. You're on stage the whole time. People expect you to be on. That's the gig. It's like the sideshow or the carnival workers. It's the same. So the morals that come out of that world, yeah, it's law of the jungle. It really is. It's a small version of communism, which I think we evolved for. I don't like communism. Let's get that straight. I'm not commie. But I do think we evolved. I think our DNA is communistic in a tiny group of people. We do work well in small groups, sharing, my town is a little bit like that. My community where I live is a little like that. We all kind of help each other. We all watch each other's backs. We all watch the neighborhood. I like that. It's just when you make it a large group and everybody has to follow the same rules, bad. Not cool. Not going to work. Doesn't work. I mean, we're about to see some wild stuff now. We have right now, I do believe that somebody crossed the line. Salwar Kamizi? No, hold on. I know the name. Lungi. It's called a lungi. Now, I'm using the Bengali word. Maybe it has a different word. I have one. My Bengali friends gave me one. A lungi is like a little skirt you wear. Yeah, so Russia looks like they crossed the border into Ukraine. Their little way of around it is they said, well, that area of Ukraine they claim to be separated, so we're going to listen to them. We're going to accept it. So we're just going to cross over and join them. Okay. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, small tribal for me is great. Big tribal, no good. Bad. Okay, well, that's what happens. When you show up to a town and people know your music, they think they know you personally. And they do, kind of, a little bit, and so they think you owe them that, like, let's go party. And you kind of have to a little bit, especially if you're trying to develop a buzz. And, yeah, you got to do it. You got to show up. Listen, when I started going out, like, after I had my kids and I was married and I didn't go out as much and I didn't get as much work. When I separated from the ex-wife, I started getting more work. Why? Because I was just going out more. And just being out gets you work. And when you're in a rock band, I remember us going to like a venue to eat, like a restaurant. And then people knew, obviously, we're in some sort of circus. They're like, who's the 6'7" guy and the guy that looks like a girl? And I mean, we were freaks. So they would be like, what's going on? And we're like, oh, we're playing over. And then they would show up. Some of them would show up, So whenever you're in a middle of nowhere doing shows and you meet somebody, they come to the show. We used to recruit people to be in our show that way. We used to use cheerleaders for one of the songs, and we would recruit the cheerleaders by, going into town. So yeah, it gets tiring. You can't party every night with your fans. It's not possible. But yeah, this Ukraine thing is scary. I mean, whenever there's a world war, it's triggered by something like this. And a world war right now, for the middle class and the really poor people, would be devastating. For certain types of people, it's very profitable. Yeah, when they go to war, sometimes it makes the economy better. It's kind of hard to say that, but it's true. It's like, it's the ebb and flow of realities. And I don't have much to say about it. I just, I hope whatever happens, there's not much suffering involved and they figure out something, some sort of agreement. I don't know what it is. I do know a little bit about the politics of the area and the UN and post-World War and all that. I know it. I still haven't formulated my personal feelings on it because I tried really to get in their shoes and look at it, which is almost impossible to do. It's what I had to do to learn how to do magic for a Russian group. See, for me, Russians are very interesting because this is why I think people don't know how to read the Russian vibe right away. Because when you see somebody who's Russian, they look European, maybe. You know, they dress like Europeans or, you know, Western. Um, they have light skin like me. Most of them. I mean, there's the Asian sides and you know, there's some areas. But basically, when I think of somebody in Moscow, I think of a white guy who looks like somebody I might see in either Poland or Germany. I mean, they look like, you know. And so, but, here's the but. Here, the nuance to the Russian experience is very different. I would attribute it to this, and tell me if I'm crazy. And I've thrown this at my Russian friends, and they're like, yeah, that might be a good way to look at it. So if you go to Asia, Japan, let's say, because I've been to Japan the most, Japanese people, they look different than me, right? I mean, I don't look Japanese. Everything's different over there. The food's different. The bricks are different. The houses are different. The way they move is different. You know, if you're watching Japanese people from far away, I can tell if they're Japanese by if their lips are doing this. Because they're going, and they, they do that. Just like an Indian guy does this. So you can see their body language. They have different body language. They're different than the Europeans. Now, the Europeans are what America ultimately is the leftovers of, right? So the Germans and the French and the Italians and the Spaniards and the English, all of these guys, even though it's different, even though the mentality behind some things very different, it's still, we are an offshoot of that, right? We're not an offshoot of the Asian thing, but the Russian thing, that thing, it's its own unique thing. They're just as different as Asia is to Europe, to me. And I love it. That's why I like Russian stuff sometimes. I'm like, wow, that is so different. And so when I figured that out, it became easier to do magic shows for them. I was like, no, they're just very different. So for me to get into their mindset, especially the nationalistic thing, I can't. I can try. I can't understand it. I really, I'm curious. I mean, everybody's, you know, I'm sure the news is loving it. It gives people are glued to the news again. The news has been doing this for the last year. So, you know, the COVID thing made it go up a bit. You know, when they put a I saw one guy did a little study on, like, CNN had a death counter on the screen, which of course makes you watch it more. It's like the cigarette companies loving putting that thing on there that causes cancer. It helps sales. So if there's a war, the news makes money. And that's all right. I mean, it is what it is. People are going to be glued to the TV for the next week. I send my heart out to the people of Ukraine. I would not want to be there. You know, with the Russian army sitting right beside you. I was thinking the analogy would be if California seceded and went its own way, and eventually, you know, we're like, yo, dude, you guys are Americans, come on. And they're like, nope, we're Californians. And eventually, one of our leaders is like, hey, America started in California, even though it didn't. But let's just say, and eventually we'd like to, you know, re-embrace that. So I don't know. Trump did very well for the news. Yeah, they loved him. They made it look like they didn't like him, but secretly their bank accounts all loved that. It's the sideshow of it all. I mean, it was clickbait. It was instant clickbait for them. Anything kooky he said was clickbait. But yeah, I feel bad for my Russian friends here that have to, you know, most of them don't like Putin and what's going on. Actually, all of them. I don't think I know any Russian guy here that likes Vladimir Putin. Do I? No. I don't think anybody does. So I feel bad. It's like, yeah, it sucks that... Fourth largest economy in the world. Is Russia? Is it? Makes sense. Have you ever seen the size of Russia? I mean, look on a map. Wow. It's a big country. And, yeah, I mean, it's just sad. I hope they work it out, and I hope our world leaders make smart decisions. I hope they don't make bank account decisions, which Unfortunately, they do. I mean, I can't believe I had to argue with people about the government literally lying to our faces in the last 20 years. Like, it's funny when people don't want the government to be lying to them. They're like, they don't lie. Follow the rules. And then when the bad guy president is in office, the government lies. And then it's just very... And so, I mean, the Iraq war, folks, the news was behind it. I mean, they didn't criticize it. The news never criticizes the wars. They never do. You'll never see the news write a hit piece on us going to war. That's very rare. Usually it's a very it's weird. Me no like. Yeah. Oh, California. Wait, California is the 4th largest economy in the world? Jeez Louise. Maybe it should be its own country. Wow. That's crazy. Huh. Well, Long Island. Actually, that way. Long Island, New York. Was it 8-9 million people? I don't know. It's huge. It could be its own state. I didn't realize that. I started looking up some facts on it. Yeah, let's hope for a diplomatic solution, is for sure. I hope they don't, it doesn't look like it's happening. I mean, Vietnam, yeah, again. Yeah, I was little, but yeah, there's another one. There's 2 major conflicts that were based on BS. So, it's terrible, but they really do. They're not your friend. They are not. They have other friends that they owe things to. If you ever want to just use a mind picture, they literally run it like the gangsters do. It's the same. They've justified it all. They have their own codes, rules, people they're paying off. Yep. Oh, yes. We all know. The mainstream news, again, it's not... That whole fake news thing got attributed to Trump. But I think it needed to come out. It needed to be said. Corporate news is weird. It's weird. But, every commercial's a pharmaceutical company. Every commercial. I watched the news. I don't know the last time I actually sat and watched it. Every ad. And it's funny. I study ads, the colors, the music. They have a certain kind of music they use now that does an alpha state. It calms you. It's like... It's like this weird... Cialis. How do you... I mean, dude, I'm telling you, it's literally wizardry all the way. And they pay for the news. It's weird. It's all weird. How about Hollywood's infiltration, CIA's infiltration of Hollywood? If you do certain things, say certain things, they help you. They give you tanks and, you need a Jeep? We'll give it to you. They have a branch of the government for that. Of course they do. Why would they not? I just think it's funny that people don't know that, or if you tell them, it irritates them, or they think you're lying. Yeah, no, really, it's that deep. If I spent 5 years learning how to do this little thing with my pinky that I can't tell you I can do to accomplish something in a magic trick, I can guarantee you there's putting more than that amount of time and effort into doing certain things and spins to get us all on the same page. And on that note, I'm going to stop this show because we could talk about that for hours. That's my favorite thing to do is to study it all as best I can with the camera pulled back and trying not to have my own prejudice inside of it. Playing devil's advocate with the good guy and the bad guy and trying to figure out where I am. I try not to sign up to teams. I will occasionally, but basically I can't. I can't do it. It's like in politics when they sign a bill, they go, so-and-so didn't sign the bill that's going to save children. Well, it's like, okay, but how come you're not saying that the bill is we're going to save the babies. But then under here it says we're going to give this much money to these goofballs. Well, yeah, I'm not going to sign this because, yeah, I want to save the kids, but I'm not hooking these guys up. They do that. They pork barrel them. They add things. And the news never tells you that. Well, the Carny wisdom is all through the show. And yes, it is in there. But Carny wisdom, if you want to study Carny wisdom, read the book Beyond Good and Evil. But, I mean, there's so much stuff. Anton LaVey was one of the first modern philosophers that I ever saw that he took the carnival wisdom and he presented it in its truest form. I mean, it really was, here it is. The line's blurred. There is a blurry line. Oh, one of the things that I thought, and I'll end on this, in the new movie, Nightmare Alley, very little subtle thing. You see this guy doing a mentalism show using tricks, sleight of hand, and, gadgetry of some sort. But then they do tarot cards for real. And the guy, I think his name was Peter, the mentalist, the older guy who identified with a lot with him, you could tell his woman really did love him too, even though there was some other things going on, but she still had a heart for him. He goes, yeah, we read for each other all the time. It works. It still works. I was like, wow, there it is. There it is. This has been more fun than an open casket funeral. Thank you, Keith. Oh, wow. Johnny Eck. Wow. Was he also, his pal, was he also a showman, a worker? Johnny Eck is in Freaks. Oh, I have a little news. I am now working on, in the fall, October, it looks like I'm going to be presenting my spook show at Coney Island, USA, in the sideshow. Yeah. I don't know if I'm doing 1 or 2 weekends, but yeah. It'll be multiple shows. Yeah. I can't wait. Speaking of sideshow, Carny wisdom. And yes, my show has a dime museum and a ding. If you know what a ding is, look it up. Let's let the rubes arrive and the dinging begin. Folks, this was episode 112. My picture at the beginning said 111. It's actually episode 112. And I had a good time tonight. I had a great crew in here. If you're new in here, say hi. Listen, hit the subscribe button if you're new. It's the least you can do. Spread the word. It is horribly difficult getting my subscription to 1,000. It's almost as if they hit that dreaded button. They didn't, but it looks like they did, they're just cards. It doesn't mean they're not magic. I like that, Ruth. We also have a really good group in here that chats and says really, really, really thoughtful things, for sure. And so, if you're new, hit the subscribe. It's the least you can do. If you're the donate and type, sure, please do. It all goes into my stash because I do this full time. Lilith, good night. Thank you very much for watching. I mean, really, I can't wait to see you all again in the flesh so that we can chat about this movie because it blew my head off. It really did. I was thinking of watching it again this evening, but I have some other things I need to do. Yeah, check it out, Nightmare Alley. Not many movies hit me over the head like that one would. So, who's new in here? Anybody new I don't know, please say hi. Because we got a really great group of... See, Zalthon is not working. Yeah, I got to get Streamlabs. Folks, my name is Cardone. Check out my Instagram channel, Cardone Magic. And I've been doing more and more live feeds. No joke. I did 2 last week. I think I might have done one after my Monday show. Now, once in a while, the spirit moves me and I do them. Sometimes I plan them a bit, but for me, they're easier. It's a different format. Very different. Yeah. So check it out. Cardone Magic on Instagram. I supplement this channel. Folks, I'm Adam Cardone. This is Evening Hour Live, episode 112. I'm going to take us out with the outro, and I will see you around. Oh, let me see here. Who's in here? I missed a bunch of texts. Thank you, Ruth. Oh, you're teaching tarot classes. That's right. Oh, wow, this is great. I can send you a copy of Master. I'll look it up. I'll find it, because I have friends that probably have it. Let me look up into that. Neuron Crux. Cool. Thank you. Yeah, it's out there, that book. I've heard of it. I don't have it. It's one of those ones I don't have. All right, folks. You guys rule. This is fun. Thank you. Party on.